Good morning, Rabbi Isai. Lili Nishmas Mimiro Services Mordechai, live in Chicago. A lot of Akar Satayim to the city. As you all know, I gave a Daf Yomi shir here for close to 8 years in Nadas. So I'm very excited to be back. Larger Olam. Tomorrow, of course, the Siyum, expecting, we have over 150 people registered, 25 people that are flying in, so it's probably going to be a little bit more than 150 people. It's still not too late to get your friends to come, join. I'm not going to have another opportunity like this for a long time. Masechta Saita, unbelievable Masechta. Before we get into the sad stuff, and I don't know if I'm going to be able to hold myself together as usual, so I just want to read a couple of emails and say Shalom Aleichem to the Olam. Don't want to start off on a sad note. Start off b'simcha. I'm happy to be here. Just landed literally maybe 2.5 hours, 3 hours ago, so a little tired. Mel, what time is it now? Maybe it's more, maybe 5 hours ago. I don't know. I don't even know where I am. Avremy Yusupov, Arav, the siyata the Shmaidas Mishpacha has, talking about his own family, to meet Rebbe in the airport. Here he is, davening for the best, for the Heilige Rebbe, safe travels, your Talmud, Avi Yusupov. And, by the way, we're trying out this new technology, so I got to thank Avremy Cohen for setting it up, and Gershom and Moshe. It's supposed to come with a fancy case. Next time I'm here, it's going to be like a whole, Yisrael Schwartz, Shalom Avrocha Rebelli. I don't have long drushes. Just wanted to tell you how I'm just in awe, inspired of how you manage to bring thousands of people to Torah. Attaches yet another picture of a person immersed in Torah, B'schus MDY. Hatzal member F245, Shmuli Hecht, who's also a member of the Mizamrin choir and a job at a wedding by the break, steiging away with MDY, listening to Yeshir, and oblivious to his surroundings. May Hashem continue to give you koyach and siyat d'shmaya to further be Marbit's Torah and to light up the world. A chassid from Borough Park. So Rabbi Isai, MDY lost a very, very dear and close friend. The very, very young Avi Mandelbaum lost his battle earlier today. I was on a plane, didn't know about it for hours, and he was a tremendous part of MDY. He's been with MDY since the beginning of the cycle. He learned at least 1,100 daf with us every single day, through thick and thin. The Olam is in tremendous pain. He was on Zoom every single day. He was always, I don't know how he got there, he was always the top row and very, very vocal. You always, when you went on Zoom, you heard him speaking. And he brought MDY together. He pulled off Achdos like no one could believe. He was himself a Zionistic Jew, had a ring on his finger, yet Hasidim, Litvaks, and everything in between, everybody was davening for him. Everybody, we learned over 5,000 daf Gemara from him. 5,000, it's unbelievable. And he always went with this attitude. He had stage 4 cancer from day one. And he went with a smile. And he says, no, it's nothing. It's not the real 4 stage. It's the fake one. This is a different type, and nobody knows. I'm going to beat it. And when you looked at him and watched him on Zoom the next day, right after, with a smile. So it happens to be that the very first shir that I gave outside of MDY was in his house. And he came to visit me here in Chicago with his whole family. So he's a very, very big piece of MDY, and we're going to miss him sorely. And I know the mishpacha is really hurting, and everybody should have an acham. I mean, the mishpacha, meaning his physical mishpacha, but our mishpacha. There's a lot of people out there that are in a tremendous amount of pain. Here he is. Look how young he is. This is just 2 years ago, when I was in his house with Gary Ben Moshe. This is the shir in his house. And here he is in my house in Chicago. This is also, I don't know, maybe a year and a half ago. I don't remember when this was. Here's some of the guys. This is Yosef, Bilyak, and Lauren Spiegelman visiting him in the hospital. Look at that smile. And this, Rabbi Isai, is MDY. It's a chassid, Yossi Klein from Monsey. Probably never spoke in his life to Tziyonish Yid. And here he is visiting him in the hospital. And that inspired, oh boy, I didn't show that. Hold on a second. See, I don't have, let me get off this for a second and go here. I thought I put that on. Okay, there was a picture here from, let me see if I can get, maybe, I'm pretty sure I put it on there, but I guess not. Okay. I'll have to show it tomorrow. There's a picture that was in a Darim that we used, Yossi Klein and Avi Mandelbaum. Avi Mandelbaum was the Chayla, and he gave us permission to use it. So, oops, let me get back here. Let me see if that works now. No, hold on. Let's not do that. Okay. Fine, as the Shama should have an aliyah. The best way to bring schusim for Avi is to get more people to learn the daf like Avi did. I had a nice video that I wanted to show the Olam where he says, oh, and then one more thing. Today on the plane, it's very interesting. I didn't know that he was nifter, and I was binging on Pesachim because I would like to finish Masechtas Pesachim. It's very long. It's over 120 daf, right? So I had to prepare shir on the plane, but I did a lot of Pesachim. And I wrote down just that on Daf Mem Gimel, I was talking about Avi. And on Daf Nun Vav, I welcomed him back to Eretz Yisrael and I said, I love you. Daf Nun Vav, minute 7, check it out. Daf Mem Gimel, the beginning. So he's been mentioned many, many times in shir. He's been a very, very big part of shir. He's a shaman should have an aliyah. And of course, by the way, I almost missed my connecting flight in France as usual. But because of the oil here, I'm serious. I know there's a certain Siyad Shmai I haven't missed since I started giving shiurim. I haven't missed the flight, Baruch Hashem. But one thing always happens: my luggage never shows up. So I don't have my stuff. I don't have a suit for tomorrow, and you know how that goes. All right, so here we are, Daf Samach Vav, the last and final daf of this amazing Masechta. I say this a lot, and I mean it. Especially with this Masechta, I'm going to miss Nazir. I love Nazir. For me, every day was unbelievable. I know some of you had some trouble with it, but Nazir is an amazing, amazing Masechta. So, we're holding, we got to do some sponsors. Correct, thank you. The Koilel, sponsored by Anonymous from Lakewood. The second sponsor of the Koilel, Reuven Klein, in honor of my daughter Lisa becoming a Kal Tzvi Chaim Nadoff from Toronto. The Masechta is sponsored by Meiser. The second Masechta is sponsored by Nishmas Chaya Bas Yosef by Anonymous. The Paras HaChodesh, last day. The Landy family, the Nishmas Yisrael Chaim Ben Yishaya. Paras HaChodesh, the Nishmas Chaim Elephant. Chaim Ben Yaakov Shmuel Zechron Levrach by his West Side friends. Paras HaChodesh, the Nishmas Chaim Ben Moshe. Paras HaChodesh, the MDY family, the Nishmas Chaim Oren Ben Bel Chaim Eliyahu. The 1-year-old Elliot Mattingly's son. Parnas Shavov, Vladislav Zakharov in the schut that I graduate this May. Parnas Hayoim, Leah Spizer in honor of my husband for finishing Daf Yomi for the third time before turning 40. Third time. Woody Wyman, Refuah Shlema for Golda Bas Brocha Freda. Her procedure today should go smoothly. Amen. And the art. For complete refuah, for Chaim Tzvi Ben Leah, Rabbi said they have that art book. It came out. Bezer Shem will have it here in Chicago. I know it's printed already in New York. The printer in Eretz Yisrael missed I was supposed to bring it here, but that didn't work out. So Yossi Klein is schlepping it in Eretz Yisrael. They're getting it, and whoever's else, I think it's going to be available for print on demand. It's a beautiful 100-page book. You go through it and you see all the sugis that we learned. Klal Pratu Klal, and Mechus Kippurim, Tful Yom, and then all the stuff that we learned through Nazir. So again, don't forget to bring your friends. And even people that were on and fell off could also join. They could also get a Gemara. We're holding the last two words on Daf Samachim Beis. Answer is Fekai. Oh, I didn't say Lilin Shmas, my mother. No? Lilin Shmas Imi Miras Yerusmas Mordechai. So let's go over this real quickly. Another Shas Sugya, the Sugya of Zav. A lot of small details in there, but the idea is very, very basic, very simple. If a man, we're not talking about women today, they have ziva, it's a different situation. Some halachas are slightly different. But if a man sees one emission, which is not shichva zera, it's not a keri, it's something else called ziva, it comes from a disease. So if he sees one emission, it makes him into like a Balkari. And just like a Balkari goes to the mikveh that day, and that evening he's already tahar. What is that called? Herav Shemesh, he's at full yoy. So too a Zav who has one emission. But if he has two emissions, now he's tummy for 7 days, and he has to wait. If something happens, he has another emission during those 7 days, he has to start all over again. He has to count 7 clean days. If he has 3 emissions, and they could be in the same day, they could be in 3 consecutive days, but he has 3 emissions, again, he has to wait 7 clean days, just like a Zav who saw 2 riyos, but he also has to bring a carbon. So, we're talking about, the Mishnah is telling us that the third riyah, once you have 2 riyos, now we step it up. Now he loses the suffix part. If there's some sort of suffix, we say no, he's going to be a real Zav. Whereas if he only had 1 riyah, if there's a suffix, we say, okay, suffix lahakal. So what's going on? We had 3 things in the Mishnah. Ansai, if he's a Einas, we go l'chumra, if it's the third one. If he's a suffix, and if shichva zera. What are these 3 things? Omar Rava, Daf Samach Vov Alf and Tav. Omar Rava leitema suffix chaza, suffix lechaza. We're not talking about if the guy's third emission, he wasn't sure whether it was or it wasn't. Okay, sometimes you have a suffix, he doesn't know, did I see something? I don't know. Why? Because in the third re'iyah, even in the third re'iyah, if a person has a suffix, we always go lahakal. He's not sure. What, are you going to make him be a zav now? He doesn't know if he saw. Doesn't know what he saw. So it's lahakal. And he wouldn't, and let's say a guy had 2 re'iyos. So he starts counting day 1, day 2, day 3, day 4. Gets to day 5, let's say, and all of a sudden, did I see something? Or did I just go to the bathroom? I don't know what just happened. You don't start over. There's no stereo. So can't be that what's going on here is that he has a suffix. So what is it? Ella, says the Gemara, vadeh chazal. Oh, he saw. He knows what he saw. Just we don't know what's the suffix. Suffix machmas shichva zera, suffix machmas ru'iyah. We don't know if what he saw was a mix, a ziva together with zera, or just a ziva by itself. So kiv and shenizgak lituma, since we already have 2 riyos, he's in bad shape. He's a really strong zav, because if it's 1 riyah, no, it's for that day only. Goes to the mikvah, end of the story. But since he's a serious zav, he's had 2 emissions, 2 riyos, and he has to wait 7 days. Now we're going to go all out on him. Since he's not sure if it's a pure ziva or not, we're going to say that what you just saw, Rebbe, is number 3. Oh, now you have to pay $500 and bring a carbon. So if a guy sees a ziva, what happens? He has to start all over again. During his 7 days, right? He's counting 7 days. He's a zav. A 2-time zav, he starts counting 7 days. Day 5, let's say he sees a third riyah, starts all over again. It's very interesting halacha. If a person is a zav and he sees a keri, he only goes back 1 day, 24 hours. So what's going on here is as follows. Since he has a suffix, if what he saw was a ziva, or perhaps it was zera, he doesn't know what he saw. That's the suffix. He knows that he saw ziva, but he doesn't know if it was by itself or not by itself. So he has a shayla. How much does he have to go back? Does he have to start his count again, a 7-day count? He's ready to go to the mikvah. He's almost there. Does he have to go all the way back to go, start over 7 days? Or does he just do 1 day? Now we're telling him, because you saw two zivas, you're a series of, let's be machmar on you. Sveikai l'chumra, tameh. That's what's going on here. Says, and now the other thing it says in the Mishnah, that this zav that saw 3 re'iyos, 2 re'iyos already, so his shikva zera is tameh. So what does that mean? Every human being's shikva zera is tameh. So what's special about him? What did you add to the tumah? Says Gemara, I'll tell you what we added. There is something to add. Shikva zera itmeyo. By the way, this sugya is going to be finished soon, and then we have a beautiful, almost like an agadat Mishnah. Lemai, what does it mean it's tameh? To touch the zera and you become tameh. Migar zera the tar. Any human being that's tar and has shikva zera, that shikva zera has tumah to it. It's called keri. Has to go to the mikvah. So Gemara thinks for a second. We're going to go back. First, we're going to slug it up. And then when we don't have a choice, we're going to come back to this. I want you to remember this thing right here. That this zera now has a new element to it. Now let's say I lift this cup up and the zera over here. Now I'm tameh. Typically speaking, a regular human being zera, you don't become tameh unless you physically touch it. Lifting something else that has it on top doesn't do anything. Says the Gemara, Man Shabbos laha dam shikva zera shazom etam v'masa. Wait a minute. I don't know anybody, says the Gemara, that says that the shikva zera of a zav makes you tameh just by lifting up something that's holding onto the zera. The zera on this table, and I lift the table, I'm tameh. Who says that? Nobody says it. If the person is a zav, maybe you'll say, "Oh, I found somebody that's similar to this." Okay, so here you have Rebbe Eliezer says, "No way. The zera of a zav doesn't have special attributes. It's metama like a regular person. B'maga if you touch it, but not b'masa." Rebbe Shua Omer metama b'masa. Oh, he starts off great. It looks like we have a tana because he says that it is metama by lifting it, but he explains, and in his explanation we see that doesn't fit into us. Lefi says she efshar lo beloy tzachzuchay ziva. You're talking about a guy who's a zav. He has a disease in his body. So the reason, says Rabbi Yeshua, that I say that any shikva zera gives you tumah just by lifting it is because in that shikva zera you're going to have a little bit, it's in that area of the body, his disease, and in the zera there's going to be a little bit of zav. And that ziva creates a very strong tumah called masa. Every ziva is metama b'masa, but not zera. Oh, says the Gemara, afilu Rabbi Yeshua lo yomar, Rabbi Shua only says that the zera is metama because we don't look at it as zera, we look at it as what? As ziva. And ziva is metama masa. Aval be'ene, if you have pure zera with no ziva at all, lo yomar. Rabbi Shua never said this. So in other words, bottom line is we don't have a tana that says straight out that zera of a zav is metama b'masa. If so, going back to the question, what is the Mishnah talking about? The Mishnah is saying that a 2-time zav, his shikva zera is metama. Well, every human being zera is metama. So what's special about the zav? And we don't have a tana that says that it's special because it's metama b'masa. Elo Omer Rav Adar bar Ahava loymar she'ein toilin bo. Doesn't want to move. Oh, okay. Here's halacha that not everybody's familiar with. Very few people in the world are familiar with this halacha. If a person is a balkari, and then he sees a ziva, he sees something weird color thing coming out of his body from a disease called ziva, he's not a zav for 24 hours. Why? So either it's halacha l'meish messina, it's a pasuk, or we have a svara. Okay. So again, a person is about carry, regular person, carry. He has like a ptur, he has a tahara from ziva. Nothing that comes out of his body is going to make him more tummy as a zav for 24 hours. But if he's already a zav twice, he's a 2-time zav, and then he saw carry, now the carry doesn't help him. Yeah? Carry helps if he's on his own, by itself. But if he's already a zav, you already gave him 2 times ziva, you already saw 2 zivas. Then he saw an emission of carry. Then the 4th emission of ziva doesn't have that green, no ziva. It is a ziva. It's a zav right away. That's his 3rd emission. He had a carry before, and when you have a carry, it doesn't count afterwards. Okay? So, says Rav Ada Rahav, that's exactly what the Mishnah is telling us. The Mishnah says that the shichva zera of a zav is metama, meaning, typically when a person has shichva zera, you have 24-hour break, there is no ziva. But this zav guy, who saw 2 emissions already, he's extreme. He's already super tummy. And just because he has shichva zera afterwards, it doesn't make his 3rd riyah not a riyah. It is a riyah. Yeah, is everybody following me? Okay, good. Either that or you don't want me to repeat it. Okay. Now, Papa said, you know what? I can explain this with a simple svara. Says Rav Papa, why is it the top line that if a person is about carry, he has 24 hours of free ziva, no matter how much ziva he has, he's not a zav? Why? What's going on here? So I'll explain to you. Our Mishnah described the 7 things that you check a zav. Did he exert himself with exercise? Did he lift heavy objects? Did he eat a lot of cheese? Did he do this? Did he do that? If there's a good reason why he saw a ziva, that his body's sick, chayli, he's not a zav. Says Rav Ada Rahava, maybe a guy that saw a carry, it weakened his body. And we could consider him like a chayla when it comes to ziva. His body's weak. Just like a guy ate a lot of cheese. Is he chayla? No, it weakened his body. This also weakened his body. So that's good when you have the first riyah, the 2. But once the guy he has 2 riyahs already, then I don't care about chayli. That the Mishnah said. Remember? The Mishnah says all these checks that we do, did you exert yourself? Did you eat this? Did you do that? That only applies for riyah number 1 and 2. But riyah number 3 says the Mishnah, we don't care about chayla. Chayla, who cares? You can be as sick as you want. You see another ziva that makes you zav number 3. And Memela Bayos also. That's why in this chart you see, if a guy is about carry, he's sick, so he has 24 hours of freebie ziva. But if a guy saw 2 zivas and then he saw a carry, we don't care. We don't care about sickness. So Mela, the 3rd ziva is a good ziva. Amalei Rava, so Rava asks him a question, sends him home. Vasnan Gershon is gayer mitame miyad beziva. If a guy had a carry when he was a guy, and then he became Jewish, and then he saw a ziva. So according to your logic, Rav Papa, the guy should not be a zav. Why? Because the guy was weak. He had a carry that day before he became Jewish, and now that he's Jewish, he's still sick because he had a carry. Says Rabbi, not only is he sick, they have a list of all the stressful things in life. It happens to be divorce is one of them, a major disease, losing a job. The most stressful Things in life. One of the things in there is marriage. Marriage, getting back with your spouse, breaking up with your spouse. Tell me. Imagine becoming a ger. That got to be on the list. No? Says Rava, that's the stress, the to be makabel on yourself, all the mitzvahs, plus you're a balkari. So you're super, super sick, according to your Papa. So you shouldn't be a zav. How could you tell me he's a zav? And the halacha is he's a zav. It says, Vasnan, Gershon is gayer mitame miyad beziva, even if he had carry. Yeah? Now, we just have to do a little bit of cheshbon, tiny bit. So if we get rid of Rav Papa, then we don't have an explanation in Ravada. If we don't have an explanation in Ravada, then we don't know why. Again, so just, it sounds good in words. Let me just explain it. Again, we had this line right here, that if a person saw carry, he's not a zav for 24 hours, but if he saw two zivas, he is a zav. And Ravada tried to explain it because a person is sick, but the sickness only helps for the first ziva, not after you zav twice. So Rava knocked him out and said, "I'll prove it to you from a ger that doesn't work." Okay, so if you knocked him out, so he doesn't have an explanation. What's the difference between that you don't become a zav and you do become a zav? And if so, I don't have a good pshat in the Mishnah. What does it mean in the Mishnah that the shichva zer is metama? I wanted to say shichva zer is metama. It means that after two zivas it's metama. Before two zivas it's not metama, and I have to explain it because you're chayla. But if you're a chayla, then a gersh, so then you have to go all the way back. And now I don't have a pshat. So now the Gemara says, I do have a pshat. My original pshat. What was the original pshat? Mishich vazer is metama. So the Gemara said that it's lamasa. It's I give it a new tumah that if you lift it up, even though you didn't touch it, it's on a plate, but you lift it up the plate, you become tumah. The Gemara says, but there is no Tana in the world that says that. So now we're going to go back and say there is a Tana that says that. Okay. Says the Gemara. You just take out the word Amalei over there. Let's go back to the original pshat. That you're not touching the zera, but you're lifting it, and that makes you tameh. A guy who's a complete zav, he saw it. He had 3 re'iyos. Metama be'maso kol meis leis for 24 hours. Here's a tana. 24 hours. If you lift up the zera, you become tameh. Rabbi Yossi says up until that night. It's a big difference. 24 hours up until that night. Because let's say a person, what time is Shkia here in Chicago? I don't know, 7, what time? So a person sees, okay, so if he sees a zera at 12 o'clock in the afternoon, he only has 7 hours of masa. After 7 hours, once the sun goes down, he lifts up a plate that has the zera on it, and he's not tameh. But if you hold like the Tanakama, then you have 24 hours that mitameh masa. It's more extreme. Where did the machlokes start? Bid Shmuel. The Shmuel had a contradiction. Siv kiyeh b'cha ish asher lo yeh tar mikra layla. So slow. What's going on there? This way. Okay. So this might be a little confusing, but the blue is the pasuk. The red is where I just stuck in pshat. So you could say what's lo yetar mikra loyla. So the Gemara understands that we're talking about 2 different things here. Lo yetar is talking about ziva. First, he was a zav. After he's a zav, this is basically what we're discussing here in our sugya. A zav who became a balkari also. He's lo yetar. He's a zav. He's not tar. And then he saw mikre, which is like kari loyla. So, if a person has a keri after ziva, it has the same tuma like the ziva, says the Gemara. That's what we're talking about here. In other words, ziva, if I pick up a ziva, yeah, his machla thing that came out, and I lift it up in a plate, I become tamei, I'm tamei masa. So too in this case, because he's a carry after a zav, he also becomes tamei b'masa. So, but it says in the pasuk, Laila, you see, Mikri Laila. So the Gemara understands, according to this man Omar, it's up until the night. This idea that it's as strong as Ziva, that's Matam Mas, is up until the night. Let's see inside. So if you look at the Mefarish over here, he brings down Lifnois Erev, Mashma Shnei Arovim. Mashma 2 nights. Lifnois Chad Erev Mashma. The word Lifnois means 1 night. Kidchsev Kifana Hayom. So Lifnois Erev means 2 nights. In other words, 24 hours. Okay, if you start now, it's 24 hours. So which one is it? Is it up until the night or is it 24 hours? That he uses the word Lifnei Erev talking about 2 nights, it's 24 hours of Tuma Masa. As the Gemara it's simpler to learn than it means up until the night, because it says in the first, Mikra Loila. Lifnei Erev is a little bit, it's a drasha. Lifnei means 1 night, Erev means another night. But Mikra Laila, it says Laila. No, Laila is nothing. It's the Torah just at night, because the Torah talks like we talk. When does it usually happen? At night. It's a thing that happens at night usually. Mikra Laila. Not that we're talking about it's the tomb of Mas is up until the night. Now, what does the other man do? The man says Mikra Laila. What does he do with Lifnei Erev? So he learns that you need Harav Shemesh. Lifnei Erev is to tell us the Harav Shemesh. Yeah, you have to wait. You go to the mikveh, but you're not tar completely until nightfall. Now I'm confused. I don't know what to say the Mishnah for. The official Mishnah is sponsored by Official. The schus. I'll tell you what Official would want to do. Official would want the Mishnah to be sponsored for Avi Mandelbaum's family. That they should have an achama. Nazir Yishmuel. Beautiful Mishnah. If a person says, I want to be like Shmuel Hanavi, then he becomes a Nazir. Why? Because Shmuel was a Nazir. Now, where do we find that Shmuel was a Nazir? Kedivrei Rabbi Nurai, Shenemar Umoire Lo Yale Al Roishai. So Chana davened. Now, we learned tefillah from Chana. Chana didn't have children for many, many years. And she davened, and the Gemara teaches us that HaKadosh Baruch Hu accepted her davening. And one of the things there's a few things that we learn from Chana, many things. One of the things you see from Chana is that she came up with her own tricks. She argued with Hashem. She said, look, you gave me a body of a woman to feed kids, and I don't have children. Why do you do this to me? Things like that. She didn't come betaina betrunya, but she used logic, and Hashem accepted her logic. And different things that we learn from Chana. But one of the things she said is, I just wanted to show this. Why not? Because this is Yoshi asked me what's my favorite art that he did in the Masechta. So I said I like the Tful Yoim thing, more the mikvah thing. But this is at night he becomes tar. Okay, but it's a very long pasuk. Vatido neder v'atoymar. Chana herself made a neder. V'atoy Hashem tzvaka isimroi tire ba'ani amosecha zuchartani v'leisishachas amosecha. You're not going to forget about me. V'nesativ la'amosecha zera anoshim. Give me children. Unesativ, if I get a child, unesativ l'Hashem kol yemei chayav. I'm going to give him to you, to Hashem, for his entire life. Umoira l'yale al roisha. What does the word moira mean? So the Gemara wants to say that the word moira means a razor. We're not going to shave his head. In other words, I am going to make him a Nazir. Where did the Gemara get it from? So the Mishnah says, "V'nemar b'Shmuel Umoira. Umoira le'ala roishoy. Sorry. Never Shimshon Umoira. Right. Never Shimshon Umoira. But never Shmuel Umoira. So here it says by Shimshon. Ki ina chara v'yilad ben. Umoira le'ala roishoy. Ki Nazir le'kimya narmin abatan. Shimshon Agibor is going to be a Nazir from the time he's born. You see that Moira and Nazir go together. Umoira le'ala roishoy. Moira. What does it mean? It means you can't give him a haircut. Why? Ki Nazir le'kimya. Because he's going to be a Nazir. So you see from Shimshon that the word Moira means a razor. So also by Shmuel and Avi it means a razor. It's very interesting that the Medrash says that there was a baskal that came out and said that there's going to be a child that's going to be born very soon. His name is going to be Shmuel, and he's going to be greater than Moshe and Aaron put together. You know, Shmuel was one of the greatest people that ever lived. So the women started naming their babies. Anybody that had a baby named them Shmuel. I don't know who it is. Hashem said Shmuel. So the Baskal said Shmuel. I'm not gonna take a chance, call him Aryeh. It's Shmuel. Let's go. Maybe it's gonna be my son. Of course, none of their children became Shmuel and Avi. But the Medrash says because they really wanted badly that their child should be a Navi, so they got all those children that were called Shmuel achieved Nevuah in some way. You see the idea that when a parent wants their child to succeed and to be a learner, to do well, and then HaKadosh Baruch Hu gives that siyata shmaya. Another very important thing is that the Rabbeinu Yaina, all the way at the end of the Sefer Rabbeinu Yaina, the Yisera Tshuva, he says on the pasuk, I think I wrote it down. Mesuk shnas ha'oved v'ma'at v'imhar b'yoichal. Ma'at imhar b'yoichal. So the Rabbeinu Yaina says, Rishon Rabbeinu Yaina, he says that schar no'elam haba, and this is to Avi Mandelbaum, schar no'elam haba is not dependent on how many years you live. It's how many deeds you did. It goes by your ma'asim. And a person could live a very long life and not be accomplished, and a person could live, he could be the Arizal, 37, 38. And a lot of big Doilim only live a very, very short time. And Shmuel Anavi brings it on, the Rabbeinu Yair brings it on Shmuel Anavi. He says that Shmuel only led Klal Yisrael for 10 years, where Moshe Rabbeinu led Klal Yisrael for 40. And yet, we say that Shmuel was shakol k'Moshe v'Aaron. So it's not how many years, it's how much you do. Now it's hard to understand because Moshe Rabbeinu, of course, but we're not going into that. Just the idea is there. All right, Zok the Mishnah. Ma Moira Amur b'Shimshon Nazir, Af Moira Amuro b'Shmuel Nazir. So says Rabbi Norai that Shmuel was a Nazir. Or Rabbi Yosi, V'haloye Moira Elo Shabbat V'Dok. So Moira, he takes the word Moira, and he says it's not with it's spelled with a hey, but you can read it with an aleph. In other words, fear. What he's saying is you shouldn't have fear. I'm blessing Shimshon. Shimshon had no fear. Shimshon went against all the plishtim. He went in, he came out, he beat everybody up, destroyed them, killed them. He had no fear of human beings, and that's what it means. So now Reb Nai, who started off the Mishnah saying, no, the Moira means a razor. It can't be what you're saying. Because it uses the word Moira by Shmuel, and Shmuel had fear of human beings. How can I go and anoint David? Shaul's going to kill me. It's his competition. So he's scared of Shaul. If Hashem listened to Chana for everything, he should have listened for that as well and not give him any fear. So you see, it's not, Moira doesn't mean fear, Moira means a razor blade. Now, Stad, there's a question here. How in the world did Chana, Vatidor Neder, she made Shmuel a Nazir? What do we learn in Masechtas Nazir? Who makes a kid a Nazir? Only a father knew what's pshat. So we have to come out that either the father or Kana agreed to it, or maybe she convinced Shmuel later on in life, but it's not so pasha. She doesn't have the right to make him a Nazir. You see that Shmuel was scared of humans, so Moira does not mean fear. This is like an Agadita Gemara that somehow has some relation to our Sugya. Rav, the famous Rav, the Galadar in Bavel, he tells Chiya's son, Chatoifu Varich, Daf Amud Beis, Pantu Latzlocha, Vari Lebim, Eliza Simcha, Shena Masha, and Eliza Simcha, Shena Masha, Bad Brocha, and Latzlocha, Nagit Shir, the members of the HPA group and their families are made. Chatoifu Varich. It's a very good minhag. When we were learning brachas, we were very into it. Sometimes I do it, sometimes I get lazy. But when you make Birkas Hamazon, it's a great idea to do it on a Kiddush cup with wine and do a Zimun, obviously if you have a Zimun. So what's more important? To be the one making the bracha or the one saying Amen? So we have a machlekes here. Rav tells his son, you do it. If you could lead the benching, the Zimun, you do it. Especially in those days. In those days, one person made the bracha and everybody said Amen. Nobody said benching. That's why today, if you see people that know halacha, and we all do now, because I'm telling you the halacha, and we spoke about it a lot in brachas, but when you bench, you're supposed to say every word out loud. The one benching. Rabbi Sai Nevarech, you don't just go to sleep and you say Baruch Atah Asher, you say the Azanas Ha'ilam Kuloi B'Tuvoid loud. And if somebody wants to be Yaitza, it could be Yaitza. In those days, that's how it was. One person led and everybody said, like Kiddush. That's how they do it, the Sfarda? Everybody. But I'm saying one person says it aloud. I know, but that's not what I'm saying. I'm saying one person says it aloud. But if everybody says it aloud, it's also good. Better than Ashkenazim. Ashkenazim, a lot of people don't even say it. They go, and then you schmooze with them and they have a standard. You know, after you speak to them, like, you were there? That's where you got up? I don't know, but I think that's where I'm supposed to be. So it's not just Rav. It's Rav Huna told Rav Abrei. Rav his son. So says Gemara, what are you telling me to lead is better? The guy finishing it off, the finisher is greater than the starter. Yeah? There's only Daf Yomi, I'm like this, but in the rest of my life, I'm a starter, not a finisher. I have to hire finishers because that's not my personality. What? The finisher wins, says the Gemara. The finisher is the one. He gets all the credit. It's like a shvuah. Teida, sharei gulyarim. When you go to war, right? We know how it goes. They first send in the troops. What kind of the young guys, the inexperienced soldiers? Let them go. If they have to get killed, they get killed. No. Later on, they send in the pros. After they wipe out most of the things, and then they bring in the Navy SEALs or whatever they are. Who gets all the credit? Who won the war? Not the 18-year-old Shmegegi that just started. The Chashuvim, all his friends died. They come in last minute and they take the trophy. So Aguyarim, Mizgarim, and Muhammad, they're the ones that start everything and do everything. The Gibarim, but the strong soldiers, Noitzchim, they're the ones that win. So which one is it? Is it the Amen or is it the Mevarech? Who gets more schar? Says Gemara Tanoi, the Sanya, there's a story going around. If anybody knows more information, I heard this story a number of times. I'm not taking any, but it's a cute story. There's a girl, a young girl. Okay, let's call her a 10-year-old girl. She accepted upon herself that she won't make a bracha unless somebody can answer on me. So, of course, she came to a situation where there was nobody there. It was the middle of the night, 3 o'clock in the morning, and she got up to get a drink, and she's not going to wake up her parents, so she didn't drink. And she's very thirsty, but she said, I have a Kabbalah, didn't drink. And then she went back to sleep and she dreamt that she made a whole mapeichen shemai because of her thing, and that her friend who was sick got her refuah shlema. The thing is that nobody knew that this friend was sick. She told her parents about it, and her parents called up the parents of this kid and she said, "Yeah, now the kid has the machla, and we didn't tell anybody." And then the story is 9 months later she was healed. 9 days later, says the Gemara. They're equal. The one leading gets schar. The one saying amen gets schar. The limevarach tchila. Sorry, limevarach tchila. They give schar, whatever that means. I'm not sure what that means exactly. But in Shamayim, Klapi Shmaya, they go. The one who makes the bracha gets the schar first. Just real quickly, I was thinking, and I didn't look this up, and I didn't ask anybody, and it could be completely wrong. But I was thinking that maybe, there's a little bit of a zilzul. We're not so makbid in Chazar Hashatz. There's a lot of people that learn Torah during Chazar Hashatz when they're not supposed to really, and there's a lot of nobody's paying attention, etc. But from this Gemara, you see an amazing thing, that maybe Chazar Hashatz is our opportunity to say Amen. Because we say, we're the Mevarach, and the Gemara says, Mevarach gets Char first. But saying Amen is just as important. And some say it's even more important. So, first we daven Shmoneh Esrei, we say the bracha. So we're the Mevarach. It's a little different because we're not saying it to anybody else, we're saying it to ourselves. But you see the idea of saying Amen, how important it is. So maybe you should be more makbid on thinking and being present during Chazar Hashatz. It's not a joke. Chazar Hashatz, we said, because a lot of people say, Chazar Hashatz is more for, in the olden days when people didn't know how to read. So the Chazar, but over here you see that there's an inyan of saying Amen. And with that, I guess we'll stop right here. Whoever wants to make a siyum by themselves could just say these last very, very famous lines. We're not going to say them today so that we could say it tomorrow. Rabbi Sai, have a wonderful day.